So, Zoom sharing here. Perfect. Sorry if you see that annoying blue dot. I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of it on Canva, but it just lingers. Okay, so hello everyone. Again, some new faces, some returning faces. Just really excited that you're here. We'll be doing intros in just a second, but this is the second Making Miss Minnesota and Miss Minnesota's Outstanding Teen webinar. So the second one in our series here. And we are just thrilled that you're spending your Sunday night with us. And we'll jump right into intros, I guess, to start. So first, Jody, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, my name is Jody Swadja, and I am the Vice President with Executive Board of Miss Minnesota. And I've been around for a while, and I'm really thankful that I have helpers here because I always have dreams of things I want to do, but I'm not always able to execute. So I love that Ellie and Bella and Madison are just here to do it and really actually do most of it. And then I just kind of sit back. So I appreciate you guys very much helping me out, helping my dream come true. But that's all I got.
Perfect. Madison.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see returning faces and some new faces, like Ellie said. But I'm Madison Reynolds, and I am the Northern Minnesota Field Director and Recruiter for the Miss Minnesota and Miss Minnesota Outstanding Teen organizations.
I will go now. And the birds started cawing again. If you heard earlier, my family's watching the movie The Birds. So I'm sorry if you hear that. My name is Ellie Mark. I am the current Miss Minnesota. And I don't know if I have anything else to add to that. So Bella.
Sorry if you hear my dog barking. My name is, there he is. My name is Bella Grill, and I'm the current Miss Minnesota's Outstanding Teen for 2020 and 2021. And the only cool thing is I will be giving up my title on March 26th.
It's on all of our calendars. I'll be crying.
Yes.
It's good. Yeah, I have birds in the background. You have your dog in the background. It's all good. All
Yes.
right. Yes. And so then at this point, I am going to pull up my list of attendees here and make it nice and large so I can see everyone and have everyone introduce themselves. If you are having issues with Wi-Fi or something like that, feel free to keep your camera off, just unmute yourself and say your name, where you are living, and if you are competing for teen or miss. Jody, can you remind us the age ranges for teen and miss before we go on here?
Yes, so teen is 13 to 18 as of December 31st of 2022, and miss is 19 to 26 as of December 31st, 2022.
Awesome. Thank you, Jody. So I will start. It looks like Ellie Rowan, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name's Ellie Rowan. I'm 14. I live in Woodbury, Minnesota, and I am entering in the teen category.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Annalyn.
Hello, my name is Annalyn Wallen. I am also 14, and I'm also entering the Outstanding Teen category, and I'm from Frazee, Minnesota.
Thank you. Now, Kayla.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I'm driving right now, so my camera isn't on. I am competing for the Miss. I am 24 years old, and I live in Chatfield, Minnesota.
Thank you, Kayla Babe. I should also say last names. I'm so sorry. Kayla Betcher, you can go next. Kayla, you did the right thing though. Good job.
So like Ellie said, my name is Kayla Betcher, and I currently live in Eagan, Minnesota, about 5 minutes from the Mall of America, which is very exciting. And I compete for the Miss.
Awesome. Thank you, Lydia. And pronounce your last name for me because I am really bad with that.
Yeah. So I am Lydia Jagosinski. I am 24, so I'm competing in the Miss, and I live in Mankato.
Awesome. Thank you. Emily Schumacher.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Schumacher. I'm 22, so I'm in the Miss category, and I'm also from Mankato.
Awesome. And Hannah Beck.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I'm from Pearl, Minnesota, and I'm competing as a teen.
Amazing. All right. Thanks, everyone. Again, thank you for being on here. We look forward to sharing all of our information with you today. And if you weren't here last time, we had the opportunity on the 10th to just talk about the resume and the social impact initiative, that paperwork, and also what it means to have a social impact initiative and everything like that. Next time, November 7th, we'll be talking about interview and offering some interview tips. But today is all about marketing and branding yourself. And so this is going to be talked about why it's important, but this applies to all phases of competition. If you haven't competed before and are unfamiliar, the teens compete in interview and onstage question with evening gown, fitness, and talent. Am I missing anything? I think that's right.
Nope.
Yes.
Lifestyle and wellness.
Sorry. Thank you.
No, but you're good.
I do need to remember these changes. And then for the Miss, you compete in interview as well as red carpet or evening wear. We also have the onstage question portion of the competition, as well as social impact pitch, and obviously talent too. So this, like I said, applies to every part of competition, even talent and how you talk about your talent and how it might align with your brand or be a little bit off and how you can make that work, right? So everything can relate back to marketing and branding yourself. And especially when we're talking about social media, one of the things that I have found in the role is that social media is an even bigger part of the job. And I'm sure Bella can talk about this too, than you even think, and I already knew it was a big part of it. So it's just something to keep in mind if you want to be a state title holder or a local title holder or national title holder, that this is part of the job. And so I'm glad that we're discussing it, and I appreciate that you guys are taking the time to learn more about it too. So I want to turn it over to Jody, again, Vice President of our Executive Board, to touch a little bit on why she thinks it's an important from both, judging, being a board member, and everything like that. So Jody.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I did actually write down some things. The one thing that I think is really important about branding is that, and I can tell you from a viewer's perspective more than from, doing it. I'm not real good at doing it. That's why these guys are good at all this stuff, because I couldn't create this little slideshow because I can't. However, I know when I see something that's on brand, that works, that makes sense to me. And I think that's what people look for. So she already talked about, when you're talking about Facebook, Instagram, personal pages, your title page. I did, one thing I do when I judge is I look at personal Facebook pages. I look at your title Facebook page and Instagram, those types of things, because I want to see if it's consistent across the board. And so on your personal page, is it the same as what's on your title page? Are you promoting something? Does it look like, yes, this is the job that you want, or does it look like, I'm just doing this for fun, which is completely fine, which is, some people, it's just fun. They're not interested in being Miss Minnesota or Miss America. They are looking for scholarships or whatever. And that's fine. And so I think that to know that people will look at these pages and get a feel for what you are doing and are they consistent across the board. I do know that not everybody does this, like I said. The other thing I want to point out is, all the things that we're talking about are really our personal views, and everybody knows that when you're in a judging competition, each judge has different things that they look at. So I'm just really sharing mine. Thinking about the really only good thing that I could think of as an example was if your social impact pitch is early catch breast cancer awareness, you think about Susan G. Komen, you think about the pink ribbon, right? And so having those things somewhere that you're working with them, maybe during your interview, you wear a pink dress. If pink's not your color, that's fine. But is there something that you're kind of, having everything kind of flow together? I think that's kind of important. Miss America did some rebranding, right? Our new logo, some people don't like it, but it's the M and the A, right? So it stands for Miss America. Some people like the old crown, but this logo stands for something. I think so. There's something about, knowing what your local is looking for, what did they stand for? What are they promoting? Is there something within your town festival or something like that that they're wanting you to promote? And then once you get to Minnesota, Miss Minnesota, what is that? And so forth and so on. I think people were familiar with CMN. That was a big thing that's gone. So now it's preparing great women for the world and the world for great women. Tagline. What's yours? And someone's going to tell you how to do that. So that's kind of all I have. I think it's important, and I like to see that things flow, that they're there, that they're important, and because people will know what it is, right? If they see it, if they see a pink ribbon, they go, oh, hey, breast cancer awareness. But anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you, Jody. Yes, it is really important to talk about this because I really love the point that you touch on in being able to see things consistently, or being able to use this as a tool for the judges to remember you by. They see you in a pink dress and they're like, oh, that reminds me that she does the breast cancer awareness, or, something like that. So it can be used as a tool for, like I said, many portions of the competition, but something that you definitely want to use to your advantage. And that's why you're here. So we appreciate that. At this point, I'm turning it over to Madison. She is quite the expert in the field of professional development and has always, as a part of this organization, in my opinion, had a really strong brand when she was a competitor. So I'm personally excited to hear more from you, Madison, and I will turn it over to you.
Oh, Ellie, you are too kind to me. So just bear with me here, everybody, as I get my PowerPoint pulled up here. Okay. Can everybody see this okay? Okay, awesome. So I'll tell you a little bit more about myself before I get going, just so you're not thinking, okay, who the heck is this lady and why is she telling me about how to market and brand myself? So again, I'm Madison. I am a former candidate and title holder for the Miss Minnesota Miss America organization. And I kind of learned my social media things throughout a couple different seasons of my life. So as a college student, I worked for our career center. I went to the College of St. Scholastica in Duluth. And that was kind of my first taste of managing social media. They had me managing all their social media pages, and they just kind of let me run with it and try things. And so I just kind of was trial by fire. So sometimes you learn best by doing. And then at a little more of a professional level, I used to work for Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, and I managed their social media, assisting as an intern and also as a full-time staff member too. So again, these are just some things that I've picked up over time through work and just by observing things from other Miss Minnesotas, other candidates, etc. So I hope I can be helpful to you tonight. And like Jody said, these are all just my personal opinions and tips. Take what you'd like, adjust what you maybe think is okay, and don't do what you don't want to do. So, and in the sake of talking about authenticity, my dog is sitting just down the stairs from me, and he's very sad that he's not invited to the webinar. So if he barks or whines, don't be alarmed. I also have my dog mom sweatshirt on and a cup of tea next to me because it's a Sunday night. So thank you all for being here, and I hope I can be helpful to you. So here we go. So starting with, what is your personal brand? And I think one of the things that comes up most when you think about personal branding is, I don't know what my personal brand is, but one thing that I think is interesting is you see like the Nike check symbol or the Target symbol, and you know exactly what brand that's for, and you know exactly what they do, what kind of products they have, their kind of culture, etc. So I just kind of wanted to start us off with a little bit of an exercise just to kind of get our brains moving and grooving in the realm of branding. So I'm going to show you a business logo, and if you're comfortable, feel free to unmute yourself and shout some answers out. Otherwise, put them in the chat. But just think about what type of adjectives you think of when you see this logo. So here we go.
Watch.
Okay, watch.
Computer.
Apple.
Apple. Okay, computers. Good.
Cell
So
Think
phone.
of expensive.
expensive. Yep. Anything else? Those are all great. What was that, Jody?
Connection,
Connection. Yeah, for sure.
right? Like FaceTime.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know. The only reason I have an Apple phone is because my kids want to FaceTime. I'm like, whatever.
There you go. And whoever said expensive, I didn't see your name pop up, but yes, I say this coming to you on an Apple computer that I bought with my college money. So I get it. So here's just some things that I came up with. So innovation, imagination. You can think of specific people like Steve Jobs. iPhone. So those of you that thought of specific products, again, it's easily identifiable with the logo. Creativity, modern, quality, expensive. Okay. So I always think it's a little bit easier to do brands. Let's try a person. So Oprah Winfrey. What do you think of when you see Oprah Winfrey?
Cars.
Cars? You get a car. You get a car. Yes.
A leader.
A leader. Yeah, good.
Or network.
Network. Yes.
Motivational.
Motivational. Okay, good. Anything else?
I think a powerhouse.
Powerhouse. Yes. Yes, for sure. So
I
here,
believe she was the she won Miss Black America.
really?
Yes.
Well, hey, she definitely can be welcomed in the pageant world at any time. We love Oprah. So you guys were really on par with what I had. So Ellie, like you said, powerhouse. I had powerful, influential, ambitious, social, bold, passionate. So this is just a good way to start thinking about, how are you going to describe yourself? Because I don't know who's ever interviewed in any sense before, and they've asked you like, tell me 3 words to describe yourself. And you sit there thinking, oh my gosh, who am I? What am I good at? What do I like? It's hard to kind of describe ourselves. So this was just to get the juices moving and thinking that way. So thank you everybody for participating. Okay, so what is exactly personal branding? In a nutshell, it's how you promote yourself, how you're going to tell your story, how it reflects your values, attitudes, your goals, and more. How do you want people to perceive you, and what do you want the world to see? The nice thing about a personal brand is if it's done well, people will be able to connect with you and share values with you. It also highlights your strengths and your passions. So with all of these words, values, passions, I immediately think of social impact initiative. And that's one of the things that's going to be extremely important with your personal brand. Like we talked about, if you weren't here with us last week, just again, pop questions into the chat if you have questions about social impact, or raise your hand, shout it out. We're happy to help. But essentially what we talked about is your social impact initiative is kind of the thing that grounds you as a candidate and a title holder. What are you passionate about? What are you trying to raise awareness for? That's going to be kind of the bottom of the of your brand. So kind of the foundation. And most importantly, I think about a personal brand. If it's done well, it'll help you stand out. Like Jody said, wearing a pink dress, that's like a super small thing, but again, it'll help you stand out and it makes you memorable. And I took the words right out of my own mouth. It makes you memorable. Okay, so that probably all sounds well and good, right? But how do I do this? It takes a good deal of self-reflection. So like I talked about before, why is it so hard to describe ourselves? So once you kind of have a social impact initiative nailed down, do some deep thinking about why is this so important to me? Why do I care so much? What am I hoping to accomplish? And we talked about this last time too, but what I mean by have a focus is not necessarily focusing your social impact initiative on one thing, but it's more just putting all of your resources into your social impact. So in any way, shape, or form, I think it's nice if you can tie everything back to your social impact. So if you're posting about, we'll get into this a little bit later, but a tip Tuesday on a Tuesday, if it can be a tip about your social impact or a way you can donate to your social impact, whatever, anything you can do to draw back to that kind of foundation of your brand is great. And again, figure out what you're passionate about. Likely it'll be your social impact initiative. If you're not at that point yet and you don't know your social impact initiative, that's totally fine. That self-reflection piece will help you nail down exactly what you're looking to do. My social impact initiative when I was a candidate was called Reach Higher, and it was about helping students find motivation and kind of inspiration for career paths. And so I had a website where I would post about like personality quizzes, and I would post about different careers that people might know about or resume tips, etc. So it wasn't necessarily focused in on one certain thing, but everything was kind of drawn back to that core of motivating and inspiring people to reach higher and find their dream job. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Some important things to consider. Consistency is super important. So if you're going to pick, like my color was yellow, if you're going to pick yellow as kind of your branding color, have that on your Facebook page, on your Instagram, on your website, wear yellow in your interview. And consistency with posting too is also really important. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I talk about marketing. So again, fonts, color scheme, logo, etc. A good place to look for this is just go look at the Miss Minnesota website. And Miss America website, you'll see we all kind of have the same colors, fonts, color schemes, everything. And like I said, I was going to be talking about authenticity. Don't forget who you are in real life. You want your personal brand to reflect who you truly are. One thing that is great about a personal brand is, like Jody said, sometimes the judges will look at your social media before they even meet you. If your personal brand match, or if you in person match the personal brand that you're showing online, perfect. They know exactly who you are. They know exactly what you stand for. And they will probably feel like they know you before you even walk in the room. So it's super important to be authentic and genuine with your presence online. And also as candidates and title holders, we are all trying to make a positive impact on whatever our social impact initiative is. So keep that in the background of everything that you do. We're trying to make a difference. And live your brand. We talk a lot about, your social impact doesn't have to be what you do for a living or what you go to school for or whatever. That's not necessarily what I mean by living your brand, but everybody can relate to being motivated for a certain cause or really anything. So again, it goes back to being authentic and genuine, living your brand, be who you are in real life online. Okay, before I go on, any questions about anything I've said so far about personal branding?
So there was a question about, should this carry over into forms as well, resume, etc. So do you want to answer?
Sure. And Ellie or Bella, please chime in at any point too. Absolutely. So this personal brand thing goes further than online. use the same sort of language and messaging in your resume and your social impact statement or pitch or whatever it's called. But yes, this brand should be all encompassing. And that's kind of also what I mean by living your brand. It should be in everything that you do. Ellie or Bella, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. And one example I'll even give, and this is so nitpicky, but when I had my title holder page, when I was a local title holder, I used certain colors and I used certain fonts. And for my resume and social impact essay, that's the word I was looking for, I used those same colors and same fonts. And it may have been something that others would consider to be overkill. However, I wanted the judges to be able to see my stuff and it to ring a bell. Like, oh, I remember seeing this color somewhere, or, oh, that font even matches her social media. Wow, that's really thought through. Who knows if anyone even noticed, but I mean, that's as far as I took it. So I would absolutely say yes and agree with Madison on that one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. The one example I can think of is that blue is kind of like my color. So if you look at my Instagram, I use a lot of blue. So then I made sure on my resume for MAO Teen, it was blue was like the theme of it. So, but otherwise you're all good, Madison.
Thanks, Bella. Thanks, Ellie. Any other questions? Really, throw them at me. It's a complicated subject, so we're here to help. Otherwise, I'll keep on rolling into marketing, and then we can do questions at the end.
So how do you fully bring in that color into your social media pages and stuff? Just by what you post, or?
Yeah, great question. So if you don't know of a website called Canva, it's Canva. Ellie already mentioned it. It is a free website where you can create any and everything in regards to marketing materials. So yes, it could be tied into a post where you use maybe the same kind of background behind an image with the same color, or like what I've done in the past is I've like created a logo and then I have that as my cover page. You can do that on your Instagram stories. Like you could have the little icons be the colors that you want them to be. So you can be as creative with it as you want, but I would highly recommend using Canva because it makes everything look super professional.
And to touch on the colors thing too, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, finding colors that align with your brand was another thing. I was like, how do I do this? Started on Pinterest. Quite literally, I like looked up color palettes on Pinterest, and I found one that I liked, and I will walk through that a little bit later, even that whole process. But if you're like, what color is me? You just start looking and searching and you go from there. But I'll talk more about that later. Just wanted to mention it now.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. All right, there's a fly. Anything else?
Someone said that they recently got their first Instagram page and hasn't posted anything yet. So that's how new they are.
Okay.
I can answer that
know
one.
where to begin. Okay.
Yeah, I can answer that one because she's a teen.
Go.
So the best thing, I guess, to put on your Instagram pages, especially because it's not your title page. So when you win a local title, you will most likely start a new Instagram page for that title. So before I became Miss Minnesota's Outstanding Teen, my title was Granite City's Outstanding Teen. So after I got that title, I created a new Instagram page. So your Instagram page right now, it can become your title, your title page later on, but right now it's just your personal page. So you can just post anything about, maybe you love your dogs, you want to put a picture of your dog, just kind of stuff that people get to know you on there. So if the judges were to look you up before your local pageant, you have a little bit about who you are on there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Bella, that's great.
And later on, Bella and I have some pictures from our social media so you can get an idea of what we post and what that looks like. And hopefully that can spark some excitement and ideas for you too.
Okay, I will, we'll just keep rolling for now. And then we're hopefully going to save a bunch of time for questions at the end. So throw them in the chat or jot them down and we will, we'll come back to them. So So let's just say you've got your personal brand all figured out. Wonderful. I'd be so jealous if you could figure it out today. But now what? Now what do you do? So this is getting into a little bit more of the marketing aspect of things. So marketing is the actual process of creating, communicating, and delivering your material. So the actual posting on Facebook or blog posting or putting up a flyer, you name it, it's probably a type of marketing. And one thing I also want to talk about is someone mentioned, they have a brand new Instagram account. Marketing has evolved greatly, even just within the last couple of years. So I graduated from college in 2018, so not that long ago. And there was a class in the marketing major called Marketing on the Internet. So that's how much it's changed, even just within the last couple of years. We've gone from just the internet in general to now you have targeted things for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So don't feel overwhelmed or like you have to do everything at once, because marketing is constantly changing, and you just kind of have to find what works best for you and also for your audience. So I just wanted to put that out there. So really what I have for you in terms of marketing is just some kind of important things to consider when you are marketing, more specifically for social media, but it can be done in other ways as well. So like we just talked about, following your personal brand, your social media pages should exude your personal brand and your social impact initiative. You're probably like, stop talking about personal brand, okay? Be consistent. So like I mentioned earlier, like posting on a Tip Tuesday. One thing that has always been helpful to me, and one thing that I don't know if they still do for Miss Minnesota, but they have done in the past, is they will give you a social media calendar. So basically what that is it's just kind of a way to set yourself up on a schedule of what to post and how often to post. And so that was always helpful for me, just to kind of plan out my things in advance and even just kind of get a plan for what am I going to talk about. Because I've learned from experience, saving something for 10 minutes before you're supposed to post it is a little bit harder than putting some thought into it ahead of time. So take that from me. And consistently posting is really important for your audience too. So, and this gets into a lot of stuff with like algorithms and whatnot. And I don't know much about algorithms, I'll be completely honest with you. But one thing that I do know is that posting consistency elevates the amount of people that see your content. And that's what you want. So post consistently. It is more important than you think it is. And being creative. So like we talked about with that website, Canva, be super creative with the things that you create dynamic looking photos and images. I will say things posted with images always do better than just a post with words. So just be creative and make some eye-catching things. And with that, be engaging. Ask a question. Ask people to give you feedback. Anything that, again, can help people engage with your content will drive the amount of people that see it. So it's a no-brainer. This is a little, this is where things can get overwhelming. I'm so sorry. My dog is whining because he really wants to come in here. He's just so excited about marketing. Have a specific strategy for each social media platform. So the audience that you have on Facebook is going to be different than your audience on Instagram or TikTok, for example. So Facebook is generally where you will post maybe some things that are a little longer, or things with links, or things that have a little bit more actionable things to do. Instagram is kind of more like pretty images, or things that like Bella said, like pictures of your dog, just kind of more of a fun place. TikTok, I don't have it. I mean, I don't make TikToks. I watch plenty of them, but again, it's just a different kind of format for each platform. So just keep that in mind with the type of content that you're posting. Keep an eye on what's trending. So for example, I don't know if you were all online around the time the Ice Bucket Challenge was trending. But it was this huge thing where everybody got involved. And so that's an easy way to reach a lot of people, is by kind of hopping on a trend. And I know that kind of goes away from being creative, like I said, but like you said, it's an easy way to kind of engage with people and also just be like, oh, hey, I think I've seen this before. Video content. So this one can be scary for a lot of people, but like I mentioned, posts with pictures always do better than just text. Videos are even better. And so it might take a little bit of time before you get this comfortable, but hop on a live on Facebook and do a Q&A, or pre-record a video and post it on your Instagram. Video content is something that is really authentic. And I'll tell you what, I used to post bloopers when I had filmed videos in the past, and people love it because it's authentic and people can relate to it. So if you're feeling daring, definitely put a video out there because it always does well. Interact with your audience. Again, be engaged. If somebody asks a question, answer it. If somebody says, oh, your dog is cute, or your outfit is cute, oh, thanks, here's where I got it, or here's my dog's name. It just makes people want to interact with your content more the more you interact with them. Don't get discouraged. So sometimes you're going to have a post that does super well. Sometimes you're not. Doesn't mean that your content wasn't good or whatever, but sometimes you just catch it at a bad time. It doesn't get to a lot of people, and that's that. So don't get discouraged if something that you think is going to do super well doesn't do well. From an example from the past for me is I've done plenty of posts for the marathon that I'm like, oh, wow, like this picture is super awesome. It has an awesome quote. Nobody sees it. And that's okay. You still posted, you're trying your best. Don't get discouraged. And my last little thing here is hashtags. Never underestimate the power of a good hashtag. So one thing that I've done in the past is do a specific hashtag for your social impact initiative. And if you're unfamiliar with how they work, if you click on it, it'll bring up every post that has that hashtag in it. So it's a really good way to tie all of your, maybe you tie all of your posts about your social impact initiative together. And then if somebody were to click on that hashtag, they'd all show up. Miss America usually has some specific hashtags. Miss Minnesota will usually have some specific hashtags. And so it's just a really good way, again, to tie everything together. And then I had some sources because I can't just pull all of this out of my brain. So with that, what questions do you guys have?
Does the Instagram account have to be public or private, or like how do you like go about that?
Yeah, so that is totally up to you. I typically will have, so in the past I have my personal Instagram, which I keep private, but then my title holder Instagram, or like if you want to do an Instagram just for your social impact, that usually they're public. Again, totally up to you because I mean, the internet, there's some sketchy people out there, let's be honest. And if you are more comfortable actually letting the people follow you and accepting them, then that's totally fine. So it's really up to you. Good question.
I just put some of the different hashtags to use. One thing that was really helpful to me in growing my Instagram audience, both on the local title holder page that I had, and also even just as a state title holder now, is following hashtags, interacting with people that use hashtags that you'd be using, even starting to follow them. One of my goals when I became Miss Minnesota was to get our page to over 10,000 followers, because we'd sat at about 9,400 for a while. I was like, we're getting to 10,000. I'm putting links in my story if you know what that means.
Yes.
And I was able to grow our following to 10,000 fairly quickly. And a lot of it had to do with using hashtags. I started following the hashtag Miss America. And if you need to learn how to do that, I would just Google it, because I don't know if I could talk you through it. I'm really bad at giving instructions. So I would just Google, like, how do I follow a hashtag? and started following that. And then people show up on the feed that use that hashtag that maybe I wasn't following yet, or they weren't following me. So then I started liking their photos, or I'd comment on their photo, and then that would be a follower. And I'd also find more people to follow. So it's really helpful in terms of follower engagement, and also just to maintain it as part of the Miss America brand. Miss America, the account, follows those hashtags too. So if you post something with that hashtag, they might see it, they might share it, do something like that. So those are just some of them, and you can feel free to use different ones too. And especially if you have a title. I know my local title was Miss St. Croix Valley Festival 2020, kind of long. So I did Miss SCVF 2020. And that was my hashtag that I used on all of my posts. So if a judge wanted to go and they weren't following me, but they wanted to search for that Miss SCVF 2020, they would see all my posts too. So. Sorry if you hear hustling behind me. Some people are leaving. So they watch birds and then they leave.
I need to like put on a Disney movie or something after that. I can't like immediately go back to normal life after a scary movie.
I need happiness. Awesome. We are going to have some more time later for questions too. So I might jump back into our slideshow, which is made from Canva. I might point out. So let me get it pulled back up here.
And it's so beautiful. Canva's the best.
It allows you to do a lot of fun things that you can't do just on PowerPoint. So, all right. Here we go. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Bella and I's brands. So again, feel free to put questions in the chat as we go, and then we'll have time to answer them as we wrap things up here. So one thing that reminded me of it, and I stepped away to see if I could find my sheet, but I can't find it anywhere. The little bubble that you had on your slide for marketing Madison is actually one of the things that it was an activity that I did to help define my brand. And so I'm going to send a link to a podcast that I listened to from a good friend of mine that talks about using that bubble where you start with your name and then everything. And it helps to kind of define like, who am I? What's the brand that I have, etc. But moving into being Miss Minnesota, some of the things that I try to have on my social media page. First, I like to try to keep things upbeat and positive. There's a lot of negativity on social media, and I want to try to be something that's opposite of that and be a positive leader in that sense. And so you'll notice that just about everything I post, I try to put some type of optimistic or positive spin on. The other thing I try to do with all of my posting is try to get more candid shots of what it actually looks like to be Miss Minnesota. Yes, I go up to a lot of dogs and, I'm taking selfies with people, or if I'm volunteering, pictures more so in action. I, of course, will have my posed ones with the crown and sash because those are always fun and a lot of people like to see those. But it's important to me to show what it actually looks like to be Miss Minnesota. It's not just sitting in parades, right? It's a lot more than that. And that's also something that Miss America wants us to do more of as well. That's the content they tend to share more, and that matters a lot because they have the largest following. And of course, that's the job that I'm trying to go for. Another thing that I really work with is consistent color schemes, which I talked about before. So when I was competing as Miss St. Croix Valley Festival, I was using actually a really dark color palette because I liked these certain colors. So it was like this dark blue and a dark pink and this like deep orange color. And it was in listening to the podcast that I'm going to send to you guys that I realized I'm not a dark person. I'm not even really a serious person. So for me to have this really dark Instagram or, everything I do be these dark colors, that's not really like on brand for me, right? And so what I ended up doing was going on Pinterest. And I searched on Pinterest. I didn't Google on Pinterest. I sound like a person that doesn't know how to use technology. And I looked up bright color schemes or bright color palettes, and quite literally just saved a couple of the ones that I really liked and started building my page off of that using Canva. the great thing about Canva, if you've never used Instagram before, it literally says Instagram post. And all you have to do is take that image and put your words right into it. It teaches you how to do it. So you can post a couple of those and then post a couple of pictures of you, right? And by doing that consistently, whether that's a color scheme with your Canva stuff, you're starting to build that visual brand for yourself. Another thing I like to use are presets. As you can see, this is not what these pictures probably looked like in the wild. If the world looked that way, that would be weird. So I use these things called presets. It's I got mine off of Etsy. If you've heard of Etsy before, etsy.com. And you literally, they teach you how to download them, how to use them, and it makes all of your pictures look the same. They're a fancy filter, right? And I wanted one that still looked natural, but made all of my pictures just a little brighter and a little more colorful to go with my upbeat, positive, optimistic personality, right? And one of the apps that I use besides Canva is called Color Story. So I like that one because it has some of those filters for free built into it, but it also helps to, I'm just going to pull it up and see if you guys can kind of see it on my phone because I don't know how to describe it. But basically it shows you your grid, which is this is what your Instagram will look like, right? And what I can do is this photo here, I'm like, oh, that looks really light compared to the rest of them. What if I posted it and I can like drag it and move it around so I can see exactly, like a lot goes into planning my grid, and the certain colors I would use, I know what I'm going to post next. And I can plan my captions in there. Like Madison talked about, this might be something I wouldn't recommend jumping right into this when you first started Instagram. Get used to the system and everything first. But this is just an app that I like to use if you consider yourself someone who's a little more advanced with Instagram. So before I jump to Bella, are there any questions on anything I've said so far?
So then you're not suggesting I use that? No, I'm
probably not, Jody. I care about your sanity, and I think you would not be okay afterwards. Awesome. Okay, Bella, I made this page for Bella, so hopefully she agrees with it. Bella, I'll turn it over to you.
Looks good to me. Yeah, so I will definitely say my Instagram game, especially with the filters, is not as strong as Ellie's. So I don't really have that many good tips to go with that. Sorry, my brother's in the background. So one of the biggest things that I try and do is promote my social impact very, very strongly with my Instagram. So if you followed me, I've done something called Wellness Wednesdays all the way for a year and a half now, because I'm 2-year title holders. I did it all the way through MAO teen, and then I got to stop. And so with Wellness Wednesdays, it was a very quick thing that people knew were coming every Wednesday. So I thought no one watched it. I thought it was just like my mom that watched it and maybe like my aunt, but people would ask me if I had to skip it because of a week of school that I couldn't get it done. They were like, where's Wellness Wednesday? What's Wellness Wednesday this week? Like they were asking me about it. So if you can think of something that has to do with your social impact, whether it's like Wellness Wednesday, something surrounding it, it'll catch on and people will recognize it, and then people will look for it, which is super, super strong. Another thing with my Instagram is I'm very, very authentic. I don't use any of the editing tools to like make my hair less frizzy, make it what you see is what you get basically with my Instagram. So if you look on it, I have it pulled up, so that's why I'm looking down. There's a lot of funnier pictures, I guess, whether it's like me with Quick Trip sunglasses on, or there's a photo shoot of me throwing a ball up in the air. Just all these things that don't have your typical pageant-y stare, like the one in the blue dress right there. I was just spinning and twirling around. It was just like a super fun, authentic thing. And then community and service. I do a lot of posts about me like getting out in my community, whether it's at a parade, whether it's with the vulgars or with some like local ambassador. I don't know if you guys can see that, but anyways, the ones with like local ambassadors, basically informing the people like what I've been doing. Because one of the things, especially as a teen, is they're like, okay, you're a teen title holder. What do you do? So if you can get on your social media and be like, I got to do this event and this event and this event, people will see that you were there. And if you have a far enough notice in advance and you can tell people that you're going to the Minnesota State Fair on the 26th or something, then people go there and they're like, oh, Miss Minnesota Outstanding Teen will be there. Like they know what's coming up. So that's a super, super helpful one. Most of the stuff I wrote down, Madison covered. Biggest thing, I'm very guilty of this. Always spell check your posts. I'm very, very, very bad at that. So spell check it, have your mom spell check it, have someone else spell check it. You will mess it up and people will call you out on it. Regarding a personal Instagram page, one of the things I did after I won is I had a private account, and before I ever went public, I went through every single one of my posts and I deleted every single comment that my friends would have made that was either like an inside joke that could be taken a bad way, or if it was just like someone being like, oh, you look funny in that picture. And like, obviously, you know, it's a joke, but if someone were to go through your Instagram page, because they will go through your Instagram page and go through your comments and look to find what information they can get on you. So go through and clear that before you do an Instagram page. And mine is public only because it was just easier. I was kind of sick of having to keep accepting people. Obviously, if there's still someone creepy following me, though, I will block them. So don't be afraid to do that. Another thing with teens when posting is don't make your captions super long. Teens have the attention span of a squirrel and we won't read it. We won't read it. One of the biggest things that I will do is I'll put like, let's see. So for the new like teen title holders, when we get a new teen, at the top, we're gonna take Maura Erickson, for example. So she just did this thing at the top right there. It says like new teen. So when people scroll through it, that's the first thing that they see. They don't see this whole long caption, because the second they see a new teen, they're like, oh, this seems interesting. If I were to be like, welcome Maura Erickson to the blah, 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 they're like, skip. I don't really want to read it. So if you can keep something short, but keep it interesting, teens are way more likely to use it. I do the TikTok thing where I have a TikTok for my teen account, and I know a lot of the other state title holders do. Some local title holders have it, but it's a total preference on if you want a TikTok. If you hate TikTok and you want nothing to do with it, that is okay. No one's going to harass you or anything for that. So TikTok, very optional thing on what to do there. Another thing is when you're a teen, show who you are. Obviously, your social impact is super important, but if you want to do a post about you're a cheerleader on the football team, go for it. Like you can post a picture of you and your friends cheering on a Friday night or something, so that when they scroll through their Instagram, they see more than just what a person with the crown looks like. They want to see the entire like version of Bella. Yeah, that's basically it. When the other thing I would recommend too is if you do have a local or state teen Instagram account, I really, really, really would encourage you to get a Facebook account. No teens are going to use a Facebook account, but your parents' friends, your grandparents, all of them will use it. So most of my followers are actually on my Facebook and are like my mom's friends that are like your biggest hype group. So getting a Facebook, because that is super, super helpful. And then utilize like your stories and your reels, all that stuff. There's really, really easy YouTube. I can probably link a few of them, but YouTube tutorials on how to make like a reel on Instagram. It takes like 2 minutes to watch it. I recommend doing that. But besides that, that's all that I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Bella. I feel like you offered really good insight, especially for teens versus Miss, because I mean, the goal is that our teens will become Miss someday, but we want to make sure we're recognizing everyone. Before I jump into more question and answer time, I also wanted to say that if you're sitting here feeling overwhelmed or thinking, how did they ever do this? They're all just so good at it or something like that. I want you to know that this did not come naturally. And I think everyone can say this, that has done this. This did not come naturally for me, and probably not for Bella, probably not for Madison. I see her shaking her head no. So it's something that you have to almost invest in, just like you're investing in this program. I watched videos as to how to make reels, right? I was on Pinterest learning how to use these different apps. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, did a lot of research. I even, would read articles about things like that. When is the best time to post? This is not something that, if you're sitting here going, I'll never be able to do this. I once thought the same thing. And now look at what we're able to talk about, right? So I want you to be able to take a deep breath and realize that this is stuff that you're going to be able to learn. We're here to help you, and we're excited for you, and that no one is expecting that you're going to just have it just like this. I think even the people who you may see as the best of the best, if you scrolled all the way to the bottom, or you got to see what they posted for the first time back in the day, it would probably look like just exactly what you're posting now. So I just want to encourage you to just always continue to learn, continue to grow, and don't be afraid of some of this unknown stuff right now. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so that we can turn it over to some questions. I have had some questions about what presets actually are, because I mentioned it. Like I said, it's like a filter for your thing. And it is something that I did have to learn how to use again. So I watched YouTube videos on it and read articles and all the instructions and stuff on it. It is something that is more advanced, and Instagram has some free filters and everything already. So you can start there. And then as you start to get more comfortable, or if you're ready to be like, no, I'm doing this now, you do the research and you'll definitely be able to get a hold of it. So I'm going to look up that link to that podcast that I mentioned, but if you don't want to ask a question to the group, you can do a private message to Madison, myself, Bella, or even Jody, and we won't say who asked it. We will just read the question and answer it. Otherwise, you can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, whatever you're most comfortable with. Otherwise, we can sit in silence too while I look this up real quick.
So when so some of the things like this, I like, oh, we want to do this webinar, or, oh, I have a really good thing for a post, right? Or I wonder what this would look like. And I'm grateful that there are people within the Miss Minnesota organization that I can go, hey, could you create this document for me? Or, hey, could you post this for me? and they'll do it, because they know how. When I do it, I use Canva. I don't know. Woo. It's really sad. I told Kathy today that I need to go back to school and learn how to do this stuff. But so for me, it's like, also, if you don't know how, find a resource who can, and just say, hey, will you do this for me? I'll buy you a cup of coffee, or, I don't know, will you just do this for me and be helpful, is also another thing. You don't have to buy them anything, but it's just something to, use your resources and find out who's got them when you don't, I guess is what I'm saying. So did you find it? No? Okay.
I'll say one other thing too. Like we took a very small peek at Ellie and Bella's social media, but some of the best ideas just come from looking at what other people are doing. And like she said, you don't feel intimidated if it looks super professional or whatever. It's just a good way to get ideas of either like ideas of things to post, or color schemes. Again, just it's just kind of trial by fire, like I said, and just learning as you go.
I have another tip I thought of too. When you are on Instagram, if you go, so we'll take like my personal Instagram, for example. Let me see if I can, I'm going to tilt this down. Okay. Anyways, so if you were to post, we're going to post a flight picture, because I just came home from South Carolina. So there's my flight picture. If I were to post it and then I hit next, it gives me like all the little options of what to do. If you hit next again, then this is where it sees like the caption, the tagging, blah, blah, blah. At the bottom, it says post to other Instagram accounts. And then it's like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. If you were to click the Facebook and like turn it on, you can then connect your Instagram post to your Facebook. So you don't have to do two separate posts. I do this on my teen page. I know some people like the two separate posts because sometimes it can carry over weird or whatever. But if you do that, and then when it's turned on and it's connected to your Facebook, you just have to post it on Instagram and it'll go on both Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, I found two of the podcasts that I was talking about. Really anything from Grit Behind the Glitz is really awesome, especially if you're competing in the Miss America organization. But the second one was the one I was specifically thinking about with branding. The first one just has some more social media tips, and she also posts some other things too. I do have two quick questions I want to address because I want to respect everyone's time and wrap things up kind of soon here. But yes, there is a link available from the first meeting. We are working on getting that more easily available to everyone. The first one didn't work, just so we're going to make it more public and just easier. And so that'll be out soon when we send out the recording of this one and the link for the next one. So that will be coming. And then this is a really good question that I have actually struggled with too. So I'll just talk on personal experience and then ask the other ones. But is it okay to use the same Instagram account for a new title and just like switch the name? Or should you make a new one for each title you have? I personally, the first title I ever held in the organization had an Instagram account that was, each time someone new was crowned, it had the same username. We just changed the password and the new title holder got to take it over. So I like inherited an Instagram account. The second title I had a personal social media page for preparing for the second local title I had. And I had to basically start completely over. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can totally tune this out. If you know what I'm talking about, keep listening. Okay. Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, probably doesn't apply to you. So you're good. But I personally think that the handing a title account from one person to the next is really cool because you get to see how the program has changed and each title holder does different things. But I also understand that that's not always possible. So I don't see anything wrong with, using your same account and changing the name. If you already have a following, it's really hard to start from scratch every single time you could have a new title, because you could have 6 titles in your time in this organization, some even more if you start earlier as a teen. So with that in mind, I would say that I think it's okay to do it. I would just say, if you are a new title holder, so I'll use mine, for example. When I was Miss St. Croix Valley, my old title was Miss Lacrosse. I did everything I could to not post pictures from when I was Miss Lacrosse, when I was Miss St. Croix Valley, because my sash said Miss Lacrosse and I was posting it saying I was competing somewhere else. Like, that just didn't really seem genuine to me. There was some of it I couldn't avoid because it was COVID and I couldn't do events and appearances, but that's just something. So if, like for instance, Emily, she was Miss Heartland. If she has a new title this year, to post pictures of her as Miss Heartland when someone else might have the title of Miss Heartland now, that might confuse some people. So it's best that we don't do that. But I understand that it might happen, but that's my only tip with that. I see Madison nodding. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good question. And I've also struggled with it because I did hold 2 titles. I'll be completely honest. I did create a new Instagram when I won my second title, but solely because I couldn't remember the password for my other one. Just being genuine here. So, and it was super hard to start over because I kind of had to redo like the about me posts and resharing it to my personal network of like, okay, follow me over here now. And they're probably like, wait, where is she going? So I totally get starting a new one, but I completely understand just transferring the name. I did keep my Facebook page because, like Bella said, my Facebook page is where I had the biggest following. And I also found that was the harder following to grow. So I wasn't going to let those people go. They were stuck with me. So it's a personal decision. And remember your passwords.
Yeah, write down your password somewhere safe. Last thing I'll say about Facebook pages that we've learned through Miss Minnesota is there's a certain amount of times that you can change a Facebook page's name. So for a while, my Facebook page was Miss Lacrosse Oktoberfest, Ellie Mark, but then I changed it a couple of times. And when I went to Minnesota and tried to change it to my St. Croix Valley title, it wouldn't let me because I had like changed my name too many times. So maybe if you have a Miss America focused Facebook page, keep it as like your name and don't maybe add your title in case you won't be able to change it eventually, because that's what happened to me. And I didn't want to start over. So they were just stuck with my weird name.
Also a really good point, Ellie, because when I did have to change between titles, it did have to like get approved by Facebook, and it took a couple days.
Yeah.
So yes, and I think it's becoming more popular too for people to just have a Facebook page around their social impact rather than a specific title. So yeah, again, personal preference, but something to keep in mind.
And again, if this is all like, what are you even talking about? You probably don't have to worry about it right now. And when you do have to worry about it, we'll be here for you. So, yay. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions roll in, but we will be setting up a follow-up email with this recording as well as the last recording, and we'll be getting another new link for the third webinar, which is not going to be next week because it's Halloween, but the week after on the 7th, and that's going to be all about interview, which is my favorite part of competition. So I'm super, super excited about that one. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to follow up with us. I am putting both my Miss America Instagram on here and my personal one if you want to send me a DM. And we can chat that way or whatever is easiest for you. But otherwise, I think we're good to go. Oh, Madison put her email in there. That's awesome. All right. So thank you, everyone. We'll hang around.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Yeah.
Nice job, ladies. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.